Alright guys, so for today's video, I do want to speak about the tactical preview for the match between PSG and FC Barcelona. PSG are going to be having their own weapons. They're going to be having Dembele, Kylian Mbappe, Moani, Gonzalez Ramos, and many other more. Barcelona are also going to be having their own weapons like Lamine Yamal, Lewandowski, Rafinha, and Joao Felix. We are going to be expecting to go into a game where it's going to be so loud, so annoying because of the atmosphere that the PSG fans are going to be creating. And I believe that Xavi Hernandez is going to need to do certain things in order for Barcelona to win this match against PSG. Point number one, Barcelona will need to press PSG when they are building up. And this is probably going to be one of the most important things because PSG do build in a 4-3-3 formation. In the back, they have Pereira, Mukiele, Lucas Hernandez, and Skriniar. There may be different players in the starting 11 against Barcelona, but I do believe that that will be the defensive line that Luis Enrique is going to be having. PSG are also going to be having a goalkeeper named Donnarumma. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that goalkeeper, but I believe that it's important for Barcelona to force PSG to make a long ball when they're playing out from the back. Ideally, they would like to pass the ball around from the center backs to the midfielders and to the attack. But we, as Barcelona, need to force PSG to play long balls because usually we see PSG get forced into long balls during the Champions League simply because the teams in the Champions League are much better. In their leagues, they don't really do that because the teams don't really press them as much, but in the Champions League, they really do press PSG. And because PSG is not the most technical team and they cannot play out from the back when they are being pressed, it forces a lot of mistakes. Teams like Barcelona, Man City, Bayer Leverkusen, Arsenal are masters at playing out from the back. Even if they do get pressed, they can still come out because they have very technical players at the back. Data MB also explained that Barcelona, when it comes to pressing, are in the 97th percentile. So Barcelona are really good at pressing the opponent. And if Barcelona can force the long balls from PSG, PSG will lose the ball over and over again. And ideally, we would also like for PSG to test us in aerial duels. So when we have Donnarumma making a long ball into the air, that is where Barcelona can win the possession because PSG do lack a lot when it comes to physicality. They do not win a lot of aerial duels. It even says here where PSG does rank in the top 5 best leagues in the world, PSG is in the 20th percentile when it comes to physicality. They cannot win a single aerial duel, and that is where Barcelona do want them. And I believe that the best front three that Barcelona could place to press Donnarumma and the other center backs out there from PSG is to have Rafinha, Lewandowski, and Lamine Yamal, with Araujo, Koundé, Kubarsi, and Christensen winning the aerial duels when Donnarumma is being forced to make a long ball in the air. Donnarumma is a great stopper, but not the most technical, which is why I think that it's, again, very important for Barcelona to be on top of their game. Make smart presses. Don't just be running everywhere thinking that you're going to get a result. You need to be smart. You need to make sure that if you leave a certain area, is the opponent behind you going to be free? Like if Lewandowski leaves a player behind him, he has to make sure that a player like Gundogan marks that player. So press smart. And if we do that, it'll go into two different ways. Point number one, which is what we just talked about, forcing a long ball, or Donnarumma passes the ball to one of the midfielders of Barcelona due to the fact that he just got nervous and he misplaces a pass. We can say that maybe Luis Enrique might use Arnau Tenas, who is a much more technical goalkeeper, to start against Barcelona, but I don't think so, right? Like we did see Arnau Tenas start in the previous match, but he has only played 4 matches so far this season, and I don't think that Luis Enrique is going to be calling up Arnau Tenas in a game like this. There's just no way. Moving on towards my next point, and I also want to speak about not letting wide passes go on against Barcelona because that is where things get very dangerous. Players like Dembele and Kylian Mbappe are going to be waiting for those passes going through either the right flank or the left flank. And the way that we could avoid having those passes go to Dembele or Kylian Mbappe is by winning the second ball. Now, let me paint you guys a scenario on what's most likely going to happen. Donnarumma is going to be placing a long ball into the air. Araujo heads the ball. Once Araujo heads the ball to the ground, what's going to happen is the players within the midfield are going to be fighting for the ball, and Barcelona cannot allow for players like Ruiz or Vitinha or Soler to gain the possession because that is where, again, things get dangerous because if they have the ball, they're going to try and find Dembele's runs or Kylian Mbappe's runs, and it's going to be up to Christensen, Frankie, and Gundogan to win the ball back once Araujo wins the aerial duel, and we cannot give them the possession because let me tell you, if the Barcelona midfielders give the players time to adjust themselves to make a pass to either Kylian Mbappe or to Dembele, there is no way Koundé is going to win on a 1v duel against Kylian Mbappe, and especially when it comes to speed. There is no way Cancelo is going to win a 1v1 duel against Dembele, and again, especially when it comes to speed. And Mbappe has shown time and time again that he's really good at running behind the defense when one of the midfielders are gearing up for a pass. The last time we saw Barcelona allow for those passes to go to a player where a player was like running behind the defense, it was with Vinicius and Koundé. And do you guys remember what happened through those moments? I'm going to be showing the pictures here. Do you guys remember what happened happened between Koundé and Vinicius in these two scenarios, Koundé, because he was not careful, allowed for Vinicius to run in behind the defense. And I feel like the same thing could go on against PSG if they allow for the midfielders to have time to pass the ball to their most fastest players. And I remember Koundé at that time in January during the Super Cup final, he was not at his best mental point. He was not focused, he was not ready, he just slept through those plays there, and that is why Koundé had a very atrocious game. Now fortunately, Koundé has been getting much better. In the past 6 matches, Koundé has been amazing, probably the best right back in the world. And I believe that's probably going to be the reason why I'm confident that Barcelona can stop PSG's attack, is because Koundé will not be a center back like he was in this final here. He will play as a right back, and with Koundé in that position would be performing much better. Araujo would be playing as a center back next to Cubarsí. Luis Enrique said something very interesting a couple of hours ago, and this is what he said: the game will be won by the team that has the ball the most and the one that is capable of being more efficient in the most important moments of the tie, which is very true. This is why I do say Barcelona must press PSG, make sure that they have no time playing out from the back, and once we have that aerial duel that is going to be tested by Cubarsí or Araujo, we need to win the second ball when the ball hits the ground right after. And if Barcelona do win the second ball over and over again, it's just going to make Barcelona's game much easier. All of this accumulates to what Luis Enrique did say: whoever has the ball the most does win. The more we allow for PSG to have the ball, take more touches, have more time to turn around and look for plays, the higher chance Barcelona might come out to lose. Barcelona must press them when they come out from the back. We win the second ball. Let's minimize the supply to the wide areas, and I believe that from there 99% of the problems will be taken care of. There was also this article that came out according to Mundo Deportivo, and this is what they said: PSG believe Xavi has been making plans to cope with a striker who is Kylian Mbappe and could use a specific player to counter the threat of Kylian Mbappe. And what we call this is basically called the Vinicius treatment, meaning that we place Araujo on the right back position to stop the opponent's left winger, and we're just going to be having Araujo to man mark Kylian Mbappe full time. To me, in my opinion, I think that this is just Mundo Deportivo creating stories. I don't think that this is real at all. I think that Xavi and the players need to recognize that we need to create not a anti-Kylian Mbappe plan, but a anti-PSG plan. When Liverpool did face Barcelona in the second leg back in 2019, they did not create a anti-Messi plan. What they created was a anti-Barcelona plan. There is a big reason on why Messi played so well in that second leg at Anfield. It is because Liverpool were, yes, they were worried about Messi, but they were much more worried about suffocating the rest of the players surrounding Lionel Messi, because Liverpool knew that the version of Barcelona of 2019 were going to let Messi down if those players do get suffocated, and they pressed them very well. And that is why Liverpool were able to come back against Barcelona 4-0 and then go into the next round of the Champions League. This version of PSG might go through the exact same thing if Barcelona can shut down all of the other players surrounding Kylian Mbappe, because they believe that if they shut down the players surrounding Kylian Mbappe, they will let Mbappe down. So Barcelona, the only way they can achieve this is by coming together and to take the ball away from PSG as fast as possible and as intensely as possible. The last key point that I do want to speak about is I really do hope that Ter Stegen acts like a center back in this match, because usually when we see Ter Stegen go between Araujo and Koundé, he acts like a center back, and then that pushes for Cubarsí to become a left back, and then that's also going to lead to Cancelo to act like a free man and also as a attacker, because usually we do see a 4-2-4 formation when playing out from the back with Frenkie and Andreas Christensen or Gundogan in the double pivot position. But then there are games where Ter Stegen acts like a center back and we automatically use a 4-2-5 formation, and with Cancelo going up on top, becoming the free man, that is what leads towards us having a 5-man attacking line and at the same time having a back four. I know it's strange, but Barcelona have implemented this before throughout the season. And so with Cancelo moving forward, PSG will be outnumbered, and especially in the midfield. The right back that PSG are going to be using is going to be Mukiele. I don't know if I said that correctly or incorrectly, but that's basically going to be PSG's right back, and it's really going to give him a hard time if we have Cancelo going out on top with Rafinha. And we need that. We need those situations where we can outnumber the opponent. So ideally, I would like to see a starting 11 like this: Ter Stegen in goal, Koundé, Araujo, Cubarsí, and Cancelo in the back, with Andreas Christensen, Frenkie, and Gundogan in the midfield, and then up top we will have Rafinha, Lewandowski, and Lamine Yamal. There is no other starting 11 that I see going up against PSG besides this one. It has to be this one. This is our best one. I don't even see how you can improve on top of a starting 11 like this, even with all of our players 100% healthy. Maybe you can add Gavi in place for maybe Andreas Christensen, but still, like, I think that this is the best starting 11 that Xavi could place. I'm excited to see Joao Felix also, because I think that he is a player that thrives in toxic environments. environments and situations. Joao Felix was like that against Atletico Madrid, and I want him to respond in the exact same way. I want him to score. I want him to bring assists. Joao Felix, a few hours ago, did state this: I'm very happy in Barcelona. I love the city, the people, the club. My position is clear. The dressing room is also incredible. I really hope to stay at the club beyond this season. And I said on top of that tweet, and I quote, show us why Barcelona should keep you beyond this season on Wednesday night. And then I said, vamos, Felix, because I think that Felix has a big point to prove. If Joao Felix really wants us to pay his price, which is going to be around 40 to 55 to 60 million euros, you need to be able to justify that through showing up on games like this. And so that is it. That is going to be wrapping up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.